Good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to all our participants and to everyone joining us from across the globe. Welcome to our second webinar on MOSIP Decode. I am Resham Chugani, a product manager at MOSIP. Along with me on the call today are members of our team. We have various product owners, we have technical architects, as well as we have our leadership team with us. We would be shortly joined by our Chief Technology Officer, Ramesh Narayanan, and the Head of Engineering, Shashi Kumar Ganeshan. At the moment on the call, we have with us the Head of Country Implementations, Krishnan, as well as we have the Head of MOSIP Academy, Sanath, with us on the call. I'm happy to welcome all our stakeholders on this call. Most importantly, we are quite excited to welcome you, the participants of the hackathon. So can we just move on to the next slide, Hitesh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. So as we discussed in our previous session, this series of webinars is basically designed to support you in your hackathon journey. So to quickly recap, in the first session, we provided an overview of our various solution offerings, which is MOSIP, eSignet, and NG. We then provided you with an in-depth overview on what is MOSIP Decode and its various guidelines. And further on, we took a detailed look at the first three problem statements that have been published for the hackathon. Yeah, next slide, please. So what is it that we're going to cover today? As part of today's session, we will be looking into the next set of problem statements, and then following which we would like to have an open Q&A session to address all your queries. Having said that, if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to submit them in the Dropbox, and we will address them as we proceed. So like we mentioned yesterday as well, this is a great opportunity for you to engage with all our technical experts and the functional team on the call, clarify any questions that you may have. So we encourage you to participate actively, keep this quite engaging, and make the most of this session. So let's get started. This segment of the webinar will be led by seasoned product owners and technical architects. So to cover the functional and technical overview of problem statement 4, I would like to call upon Pragya as well as Hitesh to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Resham. Hello, everybody. I am Pragya. I am product owner for Resident Portal and Android registration client. Today, I'm going to discuss about the fourth problem statement that we have. So in total, we have 7 problem statements. This is the fourth problem statement. And for today, this is the first one that we are going to discuss. So the problem statement that we have here is optical character recognition for digital forms. I am pretty sure you guys would know about OCR. So the problem statement that we have here is innovate the way people handle data extraction and digitization to fill important forms, any form actually. Right. So MOSIP is all about generating unique identity and of course consuming the identity. But again, the first step remains to generate the identity. Now to generate the identity, the first thing that we have to do is to capture the data. Right. It could be demographic data, biometric data, and the documents. But again, for this also, the first step remains to actually capture the data, the demographic data, which includes your name, your address, your gender, phone number, email ID, blah, 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 right? So now to do this, let's say I am an operator, right? So an operator is a person who actually registers the residents of the country, right? So he's the one who's filling the form. So now let's say I am an operator. So every day I'm going to have to sort of I'm going to have to sort of fill maybe, I don't know, 1,000 forms every day, right? So that gives us a window of human error, and also the speed will be a bit slower, as opposed to, let's say, when we have a form that is completely filled by the resident themselves, which means that there's no window for error. And also, and let's say I am an operator, and I just scan the document, the pre-filled document, the hard copy of the document, and then I just simply import it to the actual form, right? So that will be so much more easier for me to do. So that's exactly what we are going to talk about here. So the ask here is that, let's say I have a pre-filled form. It could be in any form, in the sense it could be PDF, it could be handwritten. Maybe Hitesh, if you can just go to the bottom of the PDF, right? We have given a few samples, like for example this one, sample 1, sample 2, right? It could be any form, right? It could be PDF, it could be handwritten form like the one we see. Yeah, so the ask here is to have the capability of scanning this kind of document, PDF or whatever document, and actually populating the actual form. Right? So yeah, so here if you see, if you just talk about the exact task, we have three types of tasks. One is mandatory task, second one is good to have, and the third one is bonus tasks, right? So the first one, it's exactly how it sounds. First one is mandatory task, which means we are definitely expecting these. So I'll just go through this real quick. The first expectation is to have the library that uses OCR to extract the scanned PDFs, right? And populate the form fields. So that's the first one. Now, this library should also accept URL and the JSON data, right? And it should be able to download the scanned PDF and validate that all the specified JSON data is accurately present in the document, right? Exactly what we are scanning should be should be populated in the form, right? We also should take care about the accuracy, that, whatever we scan, that's exactly what we are populating. We are also saying that, in terms of language capability, we are saying you should be able to demonstrate using two languages. One should be Latin and one should be non-Latin, right? The next one is that um, yeah, if we talk about the OS capability, it should be Android or Linux compatibility, right? So those were the mandatory tasks. Now, in terms of good to have tasks, we have um one second. Hitesh, I think, can you, yeah. Yeah, so the first one is to develop OCR solution, implement OCR to scan the documents. It's exactly the same what I just spoke about. The next one is we should be able to, we have given almost like I think four sample forms. So we are talking about the ability to scan the handwritten and the PDF, right? So that'll be sort of good to have. And the last one, which is the bonus task, is to actually integrate with MOSIP. So in MOSIP, we have various um, portals like, pre-registration portal and reg client, and Android registration client also. So if you're also able to integrate your solution with MOSIP models, that's like a bonus task. It's not mandatory, but yeah, it'll be you'll get brownie points if you're able to do that. And the last one is, if you're able to, whatever you're scanning, if you're able to sort of give the quality of the capture, that also will be like a bonus task. In the sense, so let's say I'm scanning a document and I give some sort of percentage of clarity, this is 90% clear, some sort of number, qualitative score, that'll also be a good thing, like a bonus task. um yeah, so I think that's all I would want to talk about. I would now ask Hitesh to take up the technical aspects of this.
Hitesh, you're on mute.
Yeah. Uh, Hello. Hi. Good evening. I'm Hitesh. I'm technical lead of Ingi and Android Reg Client. I'll take you through the expectations on a technical level. So, as Pragad mentioned, this specific task is to ease burden of operators who would essentially have to key in data by automating uh, pre-filling of the forms using human written forms, right? So the expectation from in some of the suggested technologies which you can use are Tesseract OCR, which is an uh, OCR, which is Apache 2.0 licensed. Then for your web application, which you might want to demonstrate You can use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also you can build the same thing as an Android application as well. Data sets, you're free to use any publicly available data set. You can find a lot of them with an open source license in Kaggle or Hugging Face. Apart from these libraries, you're also free to use any open source libraries. So essentially, the task here revolves around one of the key uh, problems which you are trying to solve is named entity recognition and resolving the value for a specific key. So, this specific problem, along with the identifying the data type of a uh, key, or also what do you call yeah, sorry, identifying the data type, whether it's a text field or a checkbox or a drop down, and having an ability to give as a JSON output, which can be used to pre-fill a lot of forms. So the samples which you see here are taken from our registration client, where uh, you are just seeing a small subset of form where the user demographic details is entered. Uh, so your deliverables would include the source code of solution given to us in GitLab, a demonstration video showing the working solution, presentation with the approach, results, and the documentation. So I think so. This is about the problem statement. If you have any questions, we can take that up.
I just had one more input. So although we have given a few sample forms at the bottom, like 4 sample forms, what you can do is to actually integrate with MOSIP would be, of course, a bonus task. But what you can do is you can simply create your own form, basic HTML form, and scan data, and then simply populate it on the basic HTML form that you have created. So that's something that you can do.
All right. So Hitesh and Pragya, thank you very much. If there are any questions, I would request the participants to drop it on the Dropbox. We also will have an AMA session towards the end of the webinar. So please go ahead. With this, I would like to call upon Sanchi and Swati to present the next problem statement, which is INGI-based digital hall ticket system for students.
Thank you, Resham. I'll share my screen.
Yes.
I hope it is visible.
Yes, Swati. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sanchi. I am product owner of Inchi. I think we had a session yesterday. So this is a different session on one of the problem statement, which is Inji-based digital hall ticket system for the students. So I'll give you a high-level understanding on what this problem is. Imagine the frustration of losing a physical hall ticket during an exam, which have to deal with long time consuming process to get a replacement sometimes, and they have to even pay additional fees. So to eliminate this kind of issues, so what we are telling our participants for this use case, what they can do is they can build a digital hall ticket system, which is secure and it is instant, which people can download it. Students can download their hall ticket very easily, easy to access. So how it can be done? Using MOSIP's INGI Stack solution, participants will create a solution that will leverage verifiable credentials and QR code capability, which will allow students to receive and store their hall ticket directly in their smartphones, which is very easy because today's generation, all these students are carrying a smartphone and they have their hall ticket, and you are avoiding the hassle of carrying a physical hall ticket, which has higher chances of losing it. So this project has two main phases of working that a participant has to work on. One is creating a system that where students will be able to download the digital hall ticket, and a system where teachers who are present in the examination hall, when you start entering the examination hall, they should be able to verify these hall tickets. Okay, so there are two capabilities that participants have to build up. And this system is not only just going to save time for students who are entering the examination hall, but it will be a very smoother, reliable process for everyone involved during that examination process, including students and teachers. So maybe I'll quickly give you a walkthrough of mandatory tasks. There are a list of tasks which I am assuming the students or the participants would have gone through it earlier, but just a quick high level overview. So if you see, the first task is that obviously creation of a system, which will be a reference portal. If you see point number 4, you have to develop a reference college portal, which will be a simple web-based portal. The design, look and feel is up to the participants how they want. They can have a simple login mechanism with password. And then the second thing, which is with the simple the reference portal that you want to develop, there's an integration that would be needed that will help you enhance the capability of this portal, is with one of our interfaces of Inji Wallet. Inji Wallet has two basic interfaces. One is the wallet application, one is the web interface. So you can integrate the web interface of Inji Wallet with that, and you'll get the details in the technical deep dive when our tech lead will take you through that. And you have to customize one of the components of Inji Wallet, that is Inji Verify. That is for the teachers and the invigilators present in the examination hall. The look and feel needs to be changed. It can be for the reference, the participants that they want to take it up. It can match to their college needs, or it can match up to their ideas. So that look and feel needs to be changed. The portal is ideally present, so no much functionality change would be required. Then there are certain technical things to generate a VC data. So basically, you have a simple data as a student. You have to convert that data into a VC, which is your verifiable credential that students can download. Your data will go into the QR code. And the same QR code your teachers are going to scan and say, okay, so and so person is the right person who has to enter the exam, and you can simply go and give your exam. So like that, if you go through, there's some process of authentication also, that as a student you have to do it while you are downloading your hall ticket. So that requires e-signet integration. E-signet is also one of the components of MOSIP. So that details are already given in this particular PDF, which has already been shared. And like that, there are certain set of schema creation, plugin for issuance and authentication. Maybe I won't go too much in detail, and Swati can take you over through the detailed set of tasks. Swati, over to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sachi. Yeah, so let's jump into the technical details about how to implement this and what information we need from the MOSIP or INGI. So as Sachi mentioned, from step by step, so whole ticket generation, that portal which we have to create, it's completely new. There is no knowledge required from the INGI. We have to develop a new web portal to support this generation of VCs. So that is up to the participant. Second is how to integrate this in the INGI web. So basically, when you download any verifiable credential through INGI web or INGI wallet, there is a portal called e-signet, which is authentication. And that authentication portal gives an UI which accepts few data, like your roll number and your batch and all. Okay. So once you enter those information, that information get matched with the data which you have created through the portal. Once the data get verified, you will be able to download the VC. So to support that, we have to write two plugins. One is a plugin to write authentication. This will be a customization on the e-signet authentication portal. Second is a write a plugin for issuance. So basically, we have two portal. Let me just go to that plugin. So there are two plugins. Okay. So this one is the VC issuance plugin, which basically interacts with the database, which will be generated as part of the reference portal. So on the reference portal, we will have a UI where the user is going to enter the information, submit into a database. And this issuance plugin will read the data from database and convert into a VC. So we have to work on customizing, writing a plugin based on these steps mentioned here. Second, I was talking about authenticator, right? Like when you download a VC, first authentication will happen. So for that, we need to write authenticator plugin, which will require a customization in the e-signet. So that page will look like having a 3 fields, and then this e-signet will interact with the database to validate the data and then give access token to us. So this is the authenticator plugin we have to customize and write. Apart from this, when we have to integrate this into NG web, right? So there is a list of issuers basically. So for us, the issuer will be this university portal, which is issuing a hall ticket. So for this, we need to configure a issuer into the issuer list. So let me also go through the documentation only directly. So if you see in NG web, there is a backend services, right? So this is the credential providers we are mentioning. So basically we have to integrate one more credential provider, which is going to issue a VC. So we have to follow these documents, how to configure a new issuer and how to bind that issuer with the e-signet, right? So we can follow these steps, onboard a university issuer to issue a hall ticket, and that can be used in the NG web. So that's about integration with NG web. Apart from this, yeah, so when we generate this plugin, issuance plugin, it will require some schema. So that is the field we mentioned, like that schema should have minimum all these things: name, badge, branch, roll number, and photo. Yeah. Apart from this, in the NG verify, we have a component called NG verify. That is a web application right now. So that's what Sachi mentioned. It's already working. There is no change we expect in the functionality. It's just like look and feel. You can change to replicate the whole ticket UI. Everything other functionality, scanning a QR code, verifying it's already there. So we don't expect any functional change in the NG verify component. It's just like you look and feel. Yeah. I think there is one more good to have task. So basically currently we are using a JSON LD and JSON database VC schema. So there is something called claim 169, which gives data into a with a claim 169 format. So basically if you go through this specification, you can understand if we can work on this, which will be a good to have task, but not mandatory. And apart from this, we have this collab environment, which we discussed yesterday also in yesterday's webinar. So we'll suggest to go through the collab environment and see how the NG web is working today. You can request for a UI and get a VC generated through NG web. That will also help you where to integrate this new component to issue a whole ticket, and how does the look and feel will look like on the PDF, and like how to verify. So it will be good to explore through collab, our sandbox environment. Yeah. I think that's it from my side. Ashok, you have raised the hand.
No, Swati.
Okay, I could see maybe by mistake. Okay. I think, yeah, that's it, Resham, from my side. If we have any question, people can put in the Q&A session.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Swati. Thanks, Sanchi. Let's move on to the next problem statement, which is WhatsApp-based notification system for MOSIP. Varanya and Ashok, may I request you to come in?
Yeah, sure.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Varanya, a product owner for MOSIP platform in NG Certify. So here I'll be talking about the problem statement 6, which was listed under in the website. So as you all are familiar with this particular chat service WhatsApp, so the problem statement is more or less how to see how to adopt a MOSIP notification system using the WhatsApp. So that is the high level of what this problem statement here. As you can see, MOSIP platform, let's say like when you are registering your national ID, you would be notified through SMS on the status of the UIN, status of the your ID. So, which is the current system we have it already, and we would like whoever would wanted to have chosen this problem statement and want to take up this would like to see into the possibility of adapting the WhatsApp services to deliver these particular messages in addition to the SMS. So when it comes to the system which you are planning to design, we are expecting to have a major two features to be added in this particular system or design. One is that notification system should be able to send the non-interactive messages. When I say non-interactive messages, which is you can mention like something which I quoted earlier. Once your ID is generated, normally you will get an SMS. That is called non-interactive messages, which the system should be able to send it through WhatsApp notification. And the other major feature which we are expecting from this design is the interactive messages to be sent through this notification system. When I mention the interactive messages, that is that user initiated. In a regular day basis nowadays, you can see WhatsApp is being used as a bot where the user interacts and requests for some features or some help. For example, in a national ID system, you can you can ping the WhatsApp to get your ID card downloaded. So this particular system should be able to carry out that particular functionality. So this is the major two features which we are expecting from this particular system you are planning to design. As part of this design, you also need to look into webhook or related component. Webhook is nothing but to interact your system with the WhatsApp. So that further details on the technical part will be taken on by Ashok. And also I'll have to mention the template details, what the message template which you are planning to have needed to be designed by as a part of this design, and also make sure that the system is enabled to handle errors and give us respective expected error messages. So these are the mandatory tasks which we are expecting from the design submitted by the students to be performed. So now I'll hand over to Ashok to walk through on the technical aspects of this problem statement.
Yeah, thanks, Varanya. So first we will move to the recommended tech stack. So MOSIP is already having a notification system which is used by the other components to trigger the messages, SMS and email based notifications. So the service is written in the Spring Boot. So as per the problem statements, we are expecting to enhance the existing MOSIP notification system to add the additional communication channel using WhatsApp. So the recommended tech stack we are expecting is Spring Boot. And anyway, the WhatsApp business account is required to initiate or trigger the messages from the WhatsApp. This is required for the non-interactive message notifications. For interactive message notification, we are expecting to integrate the MOSIP APIs, like as Varanya said, like if we need to get the application ID status. So we are having APIs. If you invoke those APIs, it will give okay for a respective application ID, what is the status. And same way to download the UIN card also. So a user can enter the UIN details and they should be able to download the UIN card. This is for the interactive message notification where user can initiate communication using the WhatsApp to the MOSIP ID system. And next we will move to the deliverables. So deliverables part like the same. Anyway, we have existing MOSIP notification system. So we are going to enhance that. So we are expecting the source code to be available in Git and a demonstration video of the solution and the PPT approach and what is results. And the documentation wise, if any integration document is there, or if we are writing any API documentation, we are writing a new service, so we are expecting the document for that. Or any integration documents, suppose we are configuring WhatsApp, what all the steps are there. So that kind of a documentation also is required. And the last point is test scripts. So any testing scripts are required for testing the solution. So now we'll move to the resource part. So first is the WhatsApp integration. So this, if I open this is an official document which explains how WhatsApp can be used for sending the notifications. Like here, maybe you have to register as a meta developer, and then you have to create an app, then maybe portfolio, and how you can configure WhatsApp to send the interactive as well as normal plain messages. So we can explore this document, how we can utilize WhatsApp to trigger the messages. And the next is the notification service. This is the existing notification service in MOSIP, which is used for triggering the SMS and email based notifications. So this is the Git repo for the notification service. And this is a Spring Boot application. So I'll briefly explain on very high level like how it is structured. Like we have controllers here. So this is a SMS notification controller. So if we go here, this is used for sending the SMS based notifications. So we have a service here, which is being used. This is a interface here. So currently we have implemented this interface for sending the SMS based notifications. So similar way, we can implement the same interface for sending the WhatsApp based notifications, and we can write our logic here. Once we add this dependency to our project and you are able to locally run, you can invoke this controller or maybe endpoint to have a look how it is sending the WhatsApp based messages. So we are expecting that this interface should be implemented, and we have to write the logic of the WhatsApp. And if you add this dependency and if you test this flow, then you should be able to test the WhatsApp based notifications. This is for non-interactive notification. And this is the Git repo for that. And we should be able to run this app in our local system so that it can be tested. And next one, MOSIP Resident API integration for interactive WhatsApp based notification. So these are the APIs from MOSIP which we have to integrate for the interactive WhatsApp based communication. Suppose user initiates to check the status of their application ID. So this is the API for getting the application ID status. So if I open this one, so as we can see, this is the API. It is a GET API. And if we enter the AID, we'll get this kind of a response that, okay, what is the stage, is where it's ready to download or not, or what is the status here, it's success. So we can invoke this API to check the status. Means user can initiate from their end and they can enter their application ID, and they in response, they should be able to get the status. The another is to download the UIN card. For downloading the UIN card, we need OTP. So first, this is the API for getting the OTP. If I open this one, so we can see here, like this is for getting the OTP, and we can pass the individual ID here. That is nothing but the AID or UIN. And then I can say this is the transaction ID. And if I invoke this, it will trigger in, it will send a OTP to the mobile number or email ID, whatever OTP channel we have configured. So once we have the OTP, so now we can go and download the UIN card. So this is the API to download the UIN card. Like if you see here, so we have the transaction ID, which we have passed during OTP generation. This is the individual ID, UIN, and this is the OTP. If we invoke this API, end user should be able to download the card. So these three APIs are required for the interactive WhatsApp communication, where user can initiate a communication to MOSIP ID system. One for getting the AID status and another for downloading the UIN card. And this is the collab environment. We are having collab environment where we can have a look and feel of the MOSIP ecosystem. And this is the UIN form, means we can request for a UIN, because for calling those APIs, you need the UIN. So we can request here. So I request you to get the UIN so that these APIs can be tested and you can invoke these APIs and get a proper status. And this is the guideline for the collab environment. So we have this documentation which explains how this collab can be used, and maybe you can explore that, how it can be used collab environment. Yeah, so yeah, that's it from my end, Nisha. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Varanya and Ashok. So we can move on to the next problem statement. May I request Rachik and Anusha to come in for the next one, which is the e-signet attendance application.
Yeah, sure, Risham. Thanks for that. Hi, everyone. So this is the last problem statement for the day that we'll be going through. So I'll take you through the background of the problem and what are the expected tasks for that. And then Anusha, the tech lead, will take you through the technical details for that. So for this problem, what we have is there are thousands of representative and workers that work for government and humanitarian organization who have their daily task of working on the field and then going from door to door, interact with the residents, uh, collecting the data related to education, health, among other things. They try to raise awareness and all other tasks also. So here the problem arises that there is a lack of systematic approach to actually track these representatives who are on the ground on daily basis. For example, who all are logging in today for the work, and how do we ensure that the person who is responsible for this field work is there on the field and working. So since there is a lack of systematic approach, this problem statement comes in to solve that, so that if there is a process to track these representatives on ground, the admins of these organization can actually use the tracking to have the resource management, scheduling, and efficiency in the day-to-day work. So as a part of this problem statement, what we have to do is we have to come up with a mobile application. So this mobile application will integrate with the eSignet. eSignet is a tool for ID authentication, basically verifying the person. So, and this once the user is onto the mobile application, let's say the representative is starting the day and logs into the mobile application. This data is then captured in another portal, which we are calling here as admin portal, where they can track where they can track who all have logged in for today, what is the time at which they have logged in, and what is the geographical location for them. So this is the overview. So as a part of solving this problem, there are two deliverables here. One is admin portal. So Anusha, can you go up a bit? Yeah, so the first part is admin portal, the first part of the problem to be solved. So this admin portal will have various features like admin login. It will have role-based access only for admins. Using this portal only, the admins will be able to onboard the representatives who are on the ground. The process of onboarding, I'll explain when we'll go to the mobile application. They'll be able to add the representatives. They'll be able to generate the authentication link. This is the link that the representatives will use to authenticate themselves and get onboarded. There will be a functionality to track the link, whether the representative have opened the link and registered themselves or not. And then once the representative has logged in using the mobile application, and we will capture their data on the same admin portal, we can use that data to show dynamic dashboards. Basically, using that particular data and coming up with some visualization like charts and graphs to show from which location how many people have logged in, at what time how many people have logged in out of the list of representatives, who has logged in today and who has not. So this is one thing. Then the second part of the problem is we have to come up with a mobile application as well. This mobile application will be used by representatives. So this mobile application will integrate with eSignet. So when I was talking about generating the authentication link for representative onboarding, this is the application where the representative will click the link that they will receive on the email. They will authenticate themselves using the fingerprint, which is a biometric authentication, and they will use the ID as the national ID that they have, which is the UIN in this case. So using the UIN and the fingerprint, they will be able to authenticate themselves, and then they will be onboarded to the admin portal. Once they are onboarded, then going forward, whenever they are on the field and they have to start the work for the day on the field, they will be logging into that mobile application using the UIN and fingerprint or OTP. Then once they are into the mobile application, there will be a check-in functionality. Once they click on the check-in, their data will be captured, data like name, who has logged in, what time they're logging in, and from which GPS location they are logging in. All this data will be posted by API to the organization system. And that data will be used in the admin portal to show the dynamic dashboard as I was talking about earlier. So to solve this, these are the two tasks that will be required to be completed. And yeah, so we can move forward to the technical part of the solution where Anusha will take you through the technical details.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. Coming to the technical tech stack that we need to use, there are two applications that we need to build. One is a mobile application, the other one is a server-side application, right? Server-side application, mostly it is it can be a Spring Boot application or a Python application. Basically, it needs to expose endpoints to onboard the representative, right? Or to capture the location details that is getting tracked about the representative whenever he logs in into the app. And also it needs endpoints to be created for managing the admin users, creating of an admin user, managing his credentials, right? And also endpoints which could be used to render the dashboard, where all the data that has been collected is showcased based on the requirement, basically showing the attendance of the representatives who have logged in from their mobile app. So to store the data that is being collected from the field, you could use Postgres, MySQL, or MongoDB based on your expertise. For dashboard, Apache Superset and open source data visualization platform could be used. Coming to mobile application, we are expecting an Android mobile app to be created as one of the mandatory tasks. iOS is again a bonus or good to have feature if at all the app that you're building is compatible with both iOS and Android. But mandatory is we need to have an Android mobile application. And another point here is whenever there is an onboarding of a representative or login of the representative from the mobile application, it needs to connect to eSignet, which is an identity provider, right? So obviously, the communication between the mobile app and the eSignet happens via OIDC protocol. So you will need to have an OIDC client library integrated in this mobile application. You could use any open source OIDC client library, or if you yourself want to have the endpoints implemented there, integrated there to access eSignet, that could also be done. And moreover, for all these integration, you will be connecting to eSignet that is already deployed in our collab environment. So coming to the resources that we have,
As I told you, there is a eSignet mock service, eSignet's IDP that is already deployed in Collab environment. The link that we have shared in the PDF document takes you to the a page where you could see all the well-known endpoints. And for the mobile application that you would integrate eSignet with, you will need the OpenID configuration content where it clearly says what is the authorized endpoint and what is the token endpoint and the user info endpoint and the supported ACR values. Supported ACR values is nothing but the type of authentication that you want to deal with. So coming with, so why am I showing the ACR values is you have two requirements for authentication, right? One is during the onboarding, we are expecting that representative logins using his UIN and fingerprint. So first time authentication happens with fingerprint, whereas then on for login into mobile app for on daily basis, it could be via a fingerprint or OTP. So the ACR values that you send to eSignet in the authorized URL should have biometric as one of the ACR as the only ACR during the onboarding, whereas during the login, the ACR value that you send in the authorized URL could have two ACRs. One is biometric, the other one is generated code. Generated code is equivalent to OTP mode of auth. So that the option could be given to the representative to choose between these two. Integration with eSignet from the mobile app is straightforward because it is a protocol-based integration, OpenID Connect protocol. We have given a link here, which actually tells you about how it could be integrated. We have a section called Integrate with eSignet. So here, if you go to the relying party integration, this clearly says what is required for you to integrate with eSignet, right? One is the redirect URI. This is a mobile app, so you could use your deep link as a redirect URI, so that that could be used for getting the for redirection after the successful authentication. Right. So going through this document will is a self-explanatory of how what and all is required for the OIDC client registration, so that you could start integrating with the eSignet that is deployed in the Collab environment. Here in this page, we also are listing down how the authorized endpoint could be used to integrate in your portal. List of query parameters that are supported in the authorized URL. The basic thing here is the ACR value and the client ID, which you would get once you register with your with your details in the Collab environment. Right. So once the authorized endpoint integration is done, which is nothing but a simple button-based link integration, embedding this authorized URL with all the details as a button in the relying party portal or in your mobile application. Then once the authentication is done, your OIDC client library will take care of invoking the token endpoint and user info accordingly. So it depends on which OIDC client library you're integrating with. You'll have to provide the valid URLs so that it automatically takes care of exchanging the authorization code with a token and fetching the user information. So here in the examples, in the documentation, you'll see that it is esignet.collab.mosip.net, but we are So it is expected that you connect to esignet-mock.collab.mosip.net. Okay, this is the only change that you should take care when you're integrating with esignet. When you're following this document to integrate with esignet. So even before, so one basic requirement for you to start with the integration is you should have onboarded into our collab esignet so that esignet will identify you as a valid OIDC client. So we have given a link of a form where you need to fill in the details about basic details that could be used to register your app or your application as a partner, as a relying party, basically. Okay, so all the things here are straightforward inputs. Here, one important thing is the public key for client assertion in JWK format. Make sure you share the right public key. One background here is eSignet only supports confidential OIDC clients. When we say confidential OIDC clients should be registered and should have a valid client ID to interact with eSignet, to integrate with eSignet. And we are also using a JWK, signed JWT as a client assertion, as one of the client authentication during the token exchange. Hence, it is required for any OIDC client who wants to integrate with eSignet to generate a key pair, RSA key pair, right? And private key will be with the client, and public key should be shared with us so that we can register this public key. So whenever you're doing client authentication during the token endpoint, we cross check if at all the client assertion is signed with a corresponding private key or not by verifying the signature with a shared public key. So it is very important that the public key that you share is the right public key. Always make sure that the corresponding private key is kept safe and the same thing is used throughout. If at all you change the private key, make sure you get that updated for your client ID that is being generated. That's very important. Otherwise, other things are basic information, which mostly will be used to communicate with you. Coming to the next point, mock SBI fingerprint authentication. Okay, so because the requirement is more of asking for a fingerprint based authentication during the onboarding, we will need an SBI. SBI is a secure biometric interface, which is how eSignet communicates with any biometric device. So for now, for this problem, it is okay to use a mock SBI that we already have. This link, you'll be able to go to a Google Drive from where you can download a zip, this collab mock mds auth.zip. Okay, the zip has an executable file, .bat or a .sh file according to whichever environment that you're using, platform that you use. You could run that so that it actually behaves as though a biometric device is connected to your system. So once it is connected and you open the eSignet portal, you should be able to see the list of biometric devices. So you can actually see how it is under the end user guide. If you go to the login with biometrics, so when you choose login with biometrics as the auth mode, so here you will have an option to scan for the connected devices. So if at all your mock SBI that you would have started is started properly, then coming to the eSignet UI and scanning for the devices should actually list 3 devices. One is fingerprint, face, and iris. Okay. That is a straightforward integration. There is not much complexity in starting it. It is just that you have to start that executable and make sure that the devices are getting displayed in this option, under this option. So with this, you should be able to see the devices that is getting connected. Sorry, you should be able to perform the fingerprint-based authentication. So with that, yeah. So now you have everything set up. One is you have an eSignet environment which is deployed and ready to be integrated, which is our collab environment where we have the link. You also know how to, you would also have your client ID generated by filling in this partner onboarding form and giving the right public key. You will have the client ID generated with this step. And then partner integration guide will actually take you through how which endpoint of eSignet should be invoked to even start the authentication process, and how to exchange the authorization code with the tokens in user info, right? Now, to even authenticate, you will need an UIN. So the same UIN request form could be filled in, where we will generate a UIN for you, which could be used for authentication. Yeah, so mostly most of the things here is more of creating the endpoints in a very you know the the portal that you're going to build is a portal that should be built from scratch, right? So all these endpoints will need to be documented. That's the API documentation that we're expecting, and yeah, otherwise other things are straightforward. Yeah, Rishabh.
All right. Thank you, Anusha and Rachik. With this, we would like to open up the forum for any questions that you may have. Um, so, Anusha, just a point that I don't think we're able to see you on video. We do have two questions though.
Yeah, tell me.
Yes. So in the Q&A drop box, we have two questions. What authorized endpoint refers to? So if you could help answer that.
Okay. So in the OIDC protocol, according to OIDC protocol, all right, when you initiate the authentication process, authorized endpoint is a first endpoint that you invoke with a client ID, and the authentication mode you prefer the end user to be authenticated with, and a couple of other parameters which tells about what is the scope that you need for the end user to authenticate, and what are the claims that you expect the end user to consent at the end of that authentication process, right? So it is basically a starting point for you to begin the authentication process with the authentication flow for a resident, for a user.
Okay. There is another question. Is there any public key already fixed for this, or do we have to create one in our solution?
Yeah, it is expected that everyone who is starting with this integration should have their own key pair generated, and they share the public key, corresponding public key with us, so that we generate a client ID for that public key, and we will revert it back to you. So yeah, everyone should create their own key pair. Only the public key need to be shared with us.
Okay. We do have another question. Thanks, Anusha. I think we'll move on. How to integrate the university portal with IngiWeb? Swati, I think this is a question to you. So how do we integrate the university portal with IngiWeb?
Yeah, sure, I'll take this. So I shared that link during the conversation, there is a customization section in the document. So can I share the screen maybe again? Thank you, Hitesh. So this was the credential providers section, which is under NG wallet customization. So basically, it helps us to add one more issuers into the NG web. Okay. So in this, if you follow the steps, there is a issuer configurations, which is configured for the collab environment. So this is nothing but all the issuers supported. So for you to implement this whole ticket, we can have only one JSON object inside this, which will be the issuer providers for us. And when you configure this, it requires few data. As Anusha mentioned, it will need a client ID also. So how to create a client ID? There are steps to create a OIDC client. Okay. So let me just go here. So if you see, this is the Mimoto issue config. So currently by default, NG supporting let's say 2 or 3 issuers. So this is a list of JSON data, and one issuer is there. And similarly, you can have your own issuers. And for that, for your issuer, you need to create a client ID, which will be linked with the e-signet, because e-signet is going to be authentication plugin, right? So we need to create a OIDC client and bind this client ID here also. The way Anusha explained in her problem statement the same way. After this, once you set up VC issuance plugin, there will be a well-known, right? So which will give you the data, how to render the VC on the UI. So this is the basically place which you can refer to integrate one more issuers in the NG web. Does it answer the question? Or any other doubt?
Yeah, I think that's quite clear. Swati, thank you. We have a question on problem statement 4. I think this is to do with OCR. Hitesh, maybe you can take this one. The question is, can I use deep learning models to develop the solution for OCR?
Okay. Yeah. So for this solution, you are free to use any deep learning model which are freely and openly available. So that means that the licenses are open source and permissive enough for you to use. We do not expect you to use the APIs of OpenAI or any other commercial uh, uh, LLM providers, but from the standpoint of solution, you can use any model which you can run locally. So as one of the expectation is that it could be potentially used with Android registration client, which is a mobile app. So one of the key NFRs here would be that if you're building for Android, the models which you are using should be running within the mobile itself. Yeah.
Okay. I think we still have one more question. Anusha has answered that. Is there any reference implementation of the Authenticator plugin? I think we've already responded to it with the link. Okay, another question. Is there any reference to generate QR code? Swati, I think this is to do with ING.
Yes. Yeah, so there is a module called Pixel Pass. That link is also mentioned in the use case. So we'll share that link into the. Also, the Pixel Pass is a module which is already integrated with NG web. So what it does is, whatever the VC we get downloaded in the NG web, it will basically make an API call, like an API request to this Pixel Pass library and generate a QR code embed in the PDF. So this module is already integrated. We don't expect any changes in this. So once you are able to integrate the whole ticket case with NG, we expect this should work as this. But yeah, this is the module if you want to explore for the QR code generation.
Okay. All right. Can you please share the code repo for this? I think for the QR code, is there any repository link that could be shared with them?
Yeah, I have just shared in the previous session. I will take care of it.
Yeah, we've shared the link with you. Thanks, Swati. Do we have more questions? All right, I don't see any more questions. Before we conclude, Sanath, any closing notes from your side for our participants?
Yes, thanks, Resham. Yeah, please feel free to contact us anytime for any clarification or any mentorship. We do offer mentorship during your development. I think yesterday's discussion, we shared the links, how you can reach us. You can go through those videos and reach us. Thank you.
Yeah. So yes, like Sanath mentioned, you can reach out to us through any of these forums, through the Discord channel on the website, or through our discussion forum on the website. If required, we can organize for personalized chat channels for mentorship or internship if you're interested beyond the hackathon. For any specific queries, please feel free to write to us at decode@mosip.io. And you can keep following us on the website for any further details as well. So with this, we would like to conclude today's session. We would like to thank you all for joining today's session for MOSIP Decode. We actually hope that it was quite a valuable one, and it hopefully provided you with a deeper and a clearer understanding of each of the problem statements and the associated expectations and tasks with each of it. And we thank you for your participation. We look forward to your hacks, to your solutions. And of course, a special thanks to all our speakers, to our leadership team, and to the organizers who are on the call. To our participants, again, don't hesitate to reach out to us through the various channels that we mentioned here. And good luck to you.
Resham, there are a couple of questions there.
Okay. How to ask for personal mentorship? You can write to us at decode@mosip.io. I'll just share the email ID here. So we'll be happy to engage with you. Where can we get the recording link? The link to the recording will be posted and published on the hackathon website. I can give you a quick link to it here. So we have a section titled Resource Center. So shortly after the session ends, we will take the recording, we will upload it on the section titled Resource Center. So you could hit on this link and you can find the recording as well as the presentation that we've shared here. Each of these slides has a quick link to the problem statements that we have explained. And of course, each problem statement has the detailed links that were explained during the session. So I would say Resources Center is the place where you could find all the artifacts. All right. So thank you very much. Thanks for joining, and please do stay connected with us. Thank you.